What's up, y'all? Another episode of Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday night. Usual time and place for the most part. This is your host, Graham Powell, co-host Bradley Brown over there on the other screen. Say what's up, Brad. Tell us a little bit about your hat while you're at it.
What's up? I'm wearing a William Murray hat.
Nice
So
zoom
Bill
in
Murray's
there.
golf line. So
Is that what it is?
yeah.
Okay. Well, good for him. A nice looking hat from what I can tell. All right. Y'all know the drill. Quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoebooty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts for now. Google Podcasts, that is. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on X at Shoebooty Sports. X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, so there's the big game coming up Sunday, as everyone knows. Let's dive right in. Who you got? We kind of already, I think, said it last week, but let's touch base. Let's jump to it. Score prediction, who we got, etc. Let's start there. Go.
Okay. So I hadn't really thought about the score prediction. I just know that I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs. It's hard to bet against them. Let's see.
Downright
Oh,
foolish at this point.
yeah. Uh we'll say 35-28 Chiefs. Think there's gonna be a lot of points scored.
Could be. Although you've heard about the conditions of the field, right?
I have not, no. But
All
last
right.
time I seen it, wasn't the stadium leaking during a rainstorm a couple of weeks back.
I don't know. It's the same ordeal that they had at last year's Super Bowl. Grass on top of sod or whatever it is, and it led to a lot of slipping, etc. It's the same ordeal this year. It's the same stuff going on. The Niners have had to switch like practice areas or something along those lines. It's ugly. It's a mess. The biggest game of the year, and we can't get this stuff figured out. Where was the game last year? Was it in Arizona? Was it in Phoenix?
I don't even remember,
Yeah.
man.
Well, it was the same ordeal, and yeah, that's what we're dealing with this time around. So could still have some points scored. I mean, I feel like Patrick Mahomes could play in Antarctica and find a way to win because they essentially did that in Kansas City a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. I'm going to go with the Chiefs because I made the mistake of betting against Patrick Mahomes uh, two 2 weeks ago and paid for it, and I wasn't surprised. It's Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, Chiefs beat the Ravens. So I got the Chiefs winning this, even though the 49ers are they still considered the favorite? I know the
Yeah, last
line's
time I
open with
checked,
them
they
as
were
the
still
favorite.
favored. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm betting Chiefs all day on that. If I were a gambling guy, and a lot of people are. But yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna say Chiefs 38-28. 38-28 Chiefs. Feel pretty good about that. MVP. It'll be Patrick Mahomes, I would think. But surely, all right, so we're both going to say MVP is going to be Patrick Mahomes, I assume.
Yeah.
There you go
Unless
as he
Kelsey
go.
gets like 3 touchdowns but yeah, it's
I,
probably gonna be Mahomes.
I was going to say, who would you pick as like maybe being like these are the names that pop into my head, like Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he could reel off some big runs. I feel like they're going to use him early. They're going to utilize him early, especially with maybe the way the field is. Uh, And considering the way he runs anyway, just stomping into the ground, I don't know if it's going to have too much of an effect on him. I'm sure it will. But I could see Pacheco being a dark horse, Kelsey, of course. Uh, maybe even like Rashee Rice playing like the Dion Branch role. Uh, the Niners could focus on Kelsey opening things up for him. Rashee Rice, he might have a big day catching the ball. That's a like dark horse option to me, or even like a Chris Jones, on the other side of the ball. Who knows? He might reel off 3 sacks or something, right?
Yeah.
As far as the 49ers go, I feel like it would be probably McCaffrey would be the one you would think would get it. McCaffrey or Debo. Brock Purdy's going to have to play like an MVP for them to have a chance, I think. And yeah, I mean, defensively, I mean, I like Bosa and all that, but I don't see a 49ers defensive player doing that. I mean, I don't see it happening for the Chiefs either. Just saying, if something like that happens, it'd be worth looking at. All right, so we both got the Chiefs. Mahomes for MVP. Hopefully it's a. I just want to see a great game. Honestly, I don't have. I'm for the better story than I am like rooting for a particular team because I like both teams, so I don't have a dog in the fight. It was kind of like that last year though. Like even when I do that, like last year, I went into it thinking I like both teams. I don't really have a dog in the fight, so I just want to see a good game. I found myself pulling for the Eagles, like, as the game progressed. Like, as the game was happening, I found myself pulling for the Eagles, and then I just felt robbed at the end when they called that PI on, what was it, Bradbury? Is that who it was? And just ruined it for me. Just left a bad taste in my mouth. Was it the right call? Yeah. Do you make that call in that moment? I don't think so. I don't think you throw the flag there. I know people are gonna say, if you could call it in the first quarter, you should call it in the fourth quarter, then again. Ugh. And I don't know. I get the argument, but to me, you don't. That decided the game. That decided the game right there. I don't think you throw the flag in that moment. If you didn't throw the flag, we wouldn't have even been talking about it last year. I don't want another moment like that. See, that's the thing. If you ask people like, would you want to see something like an ending similar to last year? No, absolutely not. Left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, I was happy for the Chiefs, but to me, it was like, I wanted to see what Jalen could do. I wanted to see what he could do in the final 2 minutes. I don't want to see another ending like that. Of course, nobody does, but yeah, it's if you're the official in that game, just jumping back on this, do you throw the flag in that moment? To me, I'm keeping it tucked in. I'm not throwing it.
Nah, go let them play.
And and even when the Rams beat the Bengals, the year prior to that, the game was kind of decided on something similar. There was a moment in the red zone. They would have had to Rams believe would have had to take the field goal, and they called a PI on the linebacker, I think it was, and it was. I thought that was a bad call. You swallow the whistle a little bit in those moments. I mean, of course, if it's egregious, throw the flag. But
Yeah.
something ticky tack like that, let them play. I'm with you on that. So I don't want to see something like this happen again. Let's stop that trend going forward. All right, so there you go. Our Super Bowl predictions. Let's I was wondering if I even want. Okay, we'll discuss the Pro Bowl here. One, did you check out any of it?
I did. Yeah. There wasn't
Okay.
anything else on Sunday, so yeah, I checked it out.
Well, I saw that it was on. I believe I guess it was Sunday. Yeah, I saw that it was on. I I think I tuned in long enough to see somebody doing a backflip catch like into the water or something like that.
I didn't
And
see
then
that, but
yeah, it was Njoku, David Njoku, I believe. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. Then I flipped the channel to something else. Like that was the extent of what I watched. I saw the clips of Eli Manning doing his rap battle or whatever it was, talking about psych. I beat Tom Brady twice. I thought that was pretty entertaining. because you got to eventually use that a little bit. Like, yeah, I beat Tom Brady. I beat the GOAT twice in the Super Bowl. And if you're ever going to do it in a goofy rap battle, that's the time to do it. So I'm sure they made it as fun as they could. And I'm sure some people liked it and tuned in, but I'm not going to be one of them. I saw a Facebook post yesterday, I believe, from 2003. Andy Reid coaching at the Pro Bowl. He had on like his Hawaiian shirt, and just it looked 20 years younger. And guys were in full pads, and I believe Jeff Garcia was one of the quarterbacks. But that's my favorite kind of memory of the Pro Bowl. Like you have your teams, like you have like you're dressed out in your uniform, the AFC and NFC, but you keep your helmet, like you keep your team's helmet. That's the that was my favorite, I guess, era of the Pro Bowl when they were actually playing, had some pride about the game. Uh, which conference wanted to win, who's going to get the Pro Bowl MVP, because you got like a bonus with that. Of course, it's and at some point they decided we're just going to do two-hand touch, and then by then I was done. I was kind of done anyway, but by then I had checked out. Because of course the Pro Bowl then was after the Super Bowl, and after the Super Bowl you're coming off this high, and if you're tuning into the Pro Bowl at that point, you're just like, I just need a fix before I go on this drought, this
Yep.
long drought of football, and it was never quite the same. It's almost like when you have, this is going to be a random comparison, but it makes sense to me. When you have Christmas and you get this high from uh celebrating Christmas, you're with family and all that, and you're like, hey, it's still, here comes New Year's, still like a holiday, like, hey, yeah, it's still a holiday season. You're like, it's not quite, it's not the same. It's a weird comparison, but to me, it made sense in my head. Was that just an out there comparison, or did it all make sense?
It made a little sense. One completely out there.
It made a lot more sense in my head, but it was as it was coming out of my mouth, it started to make less and less sense the more I talked about it. But yeah, as far as the Pro Bowl goes, I can't say I had any desire to watch it. What all did you tune into this weekend? So there was nothing on Sunday. Check anything out Saturday. A lot of really good basketball games on Saturday, college basketball. I
Yeah, I
didn't get
watched a couple. I was gonna say I watched a couple of games on Saturday. Watched a little bit of the Hogs game until they were just
as much as you
no.
could
I don't
stand.
no, I didn't watch any of the Hogs game. I could. I think I went and ran some errands, came back, realized that I completely missed the game. Didn't look up anything about it. YouTube TV popped it up, and I was like, let me fast forward through this game. And after like 2 minutes of fast forward, and I just stopped because there was no reason to finish it. Um, Terrible. Uh,
By the time I tuned into it, it was a 20-point game because it was an 11 a.m. game, I believe.
yeah,
And I had a I had a race. I ran a 15K race Saturday morning in North Little Rock. So I went and I did that, and I got out of there. I got back home, took my dog out. My dog was essentially 13 and a half-year-old dog, Dexter, essentially immobile this weekend. So I had to pick him up, get him outside, make sure he could stay up long enough to do whatever he needed to do, and pick him back up and bring him inside and just kind of make sure he was good. Try to get him to get some water, etc. So then I hop in the shower, get out, turn the game on. I'm like, okay, here it is. And I think I had the option. I think I had the option of starting it from the beginning, but I was like, no, let's just. I almost didn't want to put myself through that. I said, let's just see how it's going. Let's just see if it's going the way I think it will be. Sure enough, it was. They were down, I think, 16 points at that point when I turned the game on. And it was close to 30, I believe, by the end of the game. I know
yeah,
it
I
was
think
in the
so too.
20. It was in the 20s at some point, but it was very predictable. I've lost all interest in Razorback basketball this season. The good thing about it, you can turn it around pretty quickly next year because it's a new team every year. It's been a new team every year, and this is just the 1 year must didn't miss. or excuse me, this is just the
Yeah.
one year that Muss missed in the years that he didn't all the years prior, especially these last several. But it's just like they can't do anything well. They can't rebound. They can't defend, and they can't shoot. It's like that's been my big knock on Muss, even during the years they've been, even during like especially last year. Let's say when they saw some saw some success. Words are hard in the the NCAA tournament, get to the Sweet 16, knock off Kansas, all that, but they struggled. I mean, they struggled in the middle of the season, and their big thing was they can't shoot. They couldn't shoot. They didn't. The one guy that could really shoot, Nick Smith, didn't play. He you never saw him, and he never really made an impact on the season. And by the time he got in, it was almost like it was kind of messing with their rotation some. At least that was what it felt like initially as they kind of worked him into the rotation. But that's my big knock on Muss is like you got to get some shooters. You've got to get some shooters. I There was Stanley Amude, there's Moses Moody. Those are the only two I can recall that were shooters. I mean, Nick Smith, yeah, but you got to be on the floor to be effective with that. So I didn't see the only college basketball game I really wanted to tune into on Saturday was the Iowa women versus Maryland. I believe it was at Maryland. Obviously for Caitlin Clark, she's the you could say the best player in college basketball. Not women's. I mean in college basketball right now. She is averaging 31 a game. She scored 38 Saturday. Actually should have gotten 40. She got a steal late and that led to like a fast break layup and she missed. Like she hit some dagger threes from 30 feet out throughout the game, but like missed that one. And that was kind of funny because her coach, her assistant coach even looked at her like you were this close to 40. But man, she is must see TV. She's the best women's player I've ever seen, bar none. It's not even close. And it's not just her shooting though. She can pass. I think is pretty close to as well as she can shoot. It's like Larry Bird could do. Larry Bird was as good of a passer, as he was a shooter. Nobody ever talked about that though because of a shot. Caitlin Clark's the same way. You hear the announcers talk about how good of a passer she is, but outside of that, you don't hear about it because you just see the highlights of her, hitting it from the logo and 30 feet out, which she does on a consistent basis. But her passing is impeccable. I mean, it's top notch. She is absolute must see TV. And what do you think's going to happen? She's clearly a game changer. She's clearly a game changer for the women's game. If you're a player, in the women's game, but be it college, WNBA, etc., I don't see how you not get on board with this. And I know you want to compete with them and beat them and all that, beat her and all that, but you got to be rooting for this because it's bringing attention to your game. Like how Michael Jordan did for the NBA, right? LeBron's done for the NBA for this generation, Kobe, etc. Caitlin Clark is doing this for the women's game. Care to add anything on that?
No, I've I haven't got the chance to watch a game or watch her play this season. Seems like every time I hear
You're
about it,
missing
it's
out,
already
man.
happened. Yeah, I know. It's on my to-do list. But yeah, she's amazing.
Well, this is yeah. I've got their schedule pulled up on my phone, and I'll check it out. Sometimes I forget, but I'll check it every so often. Like, hey, I wonder if they're playing tonight. And it's a lot of their games are on TV, especially if you have YouTube TV. They're on the Big Ten network. They play it. They play on Peacock. I can't remember where they play or what station they played on Saturday. I think it was an ESPN game. But man, she's must see TV, and it's only going to elevate. Like this is going to be the biggest shot in the arm for the WNBA well that they've ever had. It's going to be the
Yeah.
only one they've ever had when she comes out. Because I'm going to tune in. I'm going to tune in just to watch her play. So you got to be rooting for her if you're just a fan of the game and want to see the game grow at the women's level because she's got everything to do with it. She's the biggest star. It's not all her. There's some good players too, but she's the one that's gonna bring them in. She's gonna bring that crowd in, much like MJ did in the '90s, etc. Yeah, I'm comparing. I'm comparing the two as far as viewership goes. And MJ's the best I've ever seen. Caitlin Clark's the best women's player I've ever seen. I think it's a fair comparison. All right, so what other stuff is going on in the sports world we haven't talked about? We got the Super Bowl, knocked out the Pro Bowl, highlights from Saturday. What are we missing out on? There was an NHL All Star game. I did check a little bit of that out. I didn't really get the format. There were
I
some
didn't even know there was an NHL All-Star game going on.
there
So
was this weekend. I didn't know it until I saw it on on YouTube TV. It's like, hey, that's going on today. Okay. And they played thought that I was like, is the game tied? And then they played like a shootout, and then they had like a bracket, and it was weird. And by then, I was like, okay, I don't care to be educated on this right now, so I'm gonna see what else I got. There is hockey going on. There's hockey going on right now. Vegas and Edmonton. Okay, the Golden Knights and the Oilers. 1-1 in the first. It's on ESPN Plus or slash Hulu. So okay, package there, the ESPN Hulu package. All right, so Kansas State did knock off Kansas last night. That was a big one. I was a little surprised to see Kansas playing, considering I just saw them play Saturday. I was like, part of me was like, is this a rerun? Is this, why are they playing so soon after? But yeah, Kansas State knocked them off at home. Big one tonight. Clemson beats UNC. North Carolina, 80-76. North Carolina they're coming off a win against Duke. So I mean they are coming off a big win. But yeah, Clemson getting a win against North Carolina. And we are going to still have football technically after, this with the UFL merging with the well, it was the USFL and XFL merging.
yeah.
I think it's still just 8 teams. I think they took like the most profitable or the best or most profitable team and or most profitable teams from each league and combined to have one league. And of course, The Rock going out saying spring football is here to stay. I'm sure they all said that. That kind of remains to be seen, but I feel like they're going about it the best way that you can in order to make that happen. And I've heard an argument like, really, the NFL should be on board with this. If anything, it should be they need to be getting good. The two leagues need to get in good with each other. If anything, you can use the UFL as a developmental league, right? Almost like your minor league system for the NFL.
Hmm.
Because that was one thing I did see and like that the XFL did last season and toward the or at after it was over, they would share, especially on social media and stuff, guys that were in their league signing contracts with the NFL. Essentially saying, I guess, hey, these guys came and made a name for themselves. They were good enough to go sign a contract with the NFL. AJ McCarron's one that just pops into my head, but they had that throughout the year, and I like that they were, not trying to say like we're going to compete with the NFL because of course that's not going to happen. Instead, they were saying, "Hey, some of our players were good enough to go play in the NFL now." Like you see, now they showed out here, played well enough that now they got an NFL contract. So I do like that's the business strategy you need to use. And yeah, seeing the UFL kind of use that, and then just the way they're marketing it right now, chances it's around in 2-3 years. What chances do you give it of survival? Just off the top of your head, based on obviously so much research that we're doing about it. This is all gut stuff here, folks. What we do sometimes, most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The last couple of stints that they've had, we've all seen it in the past. Try and make it work, and it's only stuck around for a season or two.
Yeah, no matter what it
Um,
is.
no matter what it is.
What was the one with Spurrier? What was the league where Spurrier was the coach and they won the thing? It was like the AFL. Was it the AFL?
That sounds right.
I think that
Sounds
was
right. And
it.
it's all just like South teams from the South. I
Maybe. I
want to
think so.
say.
I remember Trent Richardson was out there.
Mm.
I remember
Well,
him and Spurrier. That was it.
I don't know, I'll give it like a 40% chance it'll be around in, say, 5 years, 4 years.
5 years. Okay. I mean, I would like to see it work. Of course,
Yeah.
we talked about it last year, or whatever it was, talking about like, yeah, we tuned in, but I couldn't stay interested. And by that point, the best product is gone. The NFL, it's done. It's over. And now I've got all these other options. I've got the NBA full time now. I've got college basketball that's into March Madness. I mean, I'm coming off of March Madness. I have that option. Uh, you know, like the end of the regular season, college basketball, conference tournament, and then you got March Madness. And
Yep.
then baseball starting up, right? Uh, Not just pro, you got college baseball. And there's a ton of streaming options. If I don't want to watch sports, I want to go watch an episode of Succession, or I want to check out the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I did last night, by the way. Watched episode 1. You have more options now than ever. So it's hard. It's really hard to make that work. It's going to be really hard to make that work, get people to tune in and stay. People are going to come in and tune in right away just for they're excited.
Mhm.
They want to see what the new flavor is. And giving the USFL and XFL a makeover by uniting the league and calling it the UFL, and really hyping it up. And I mean, they're doing the best they can with what it is. And I'll tune into it, but I don't know that I'm going to stay tuned in. And that's what I want to see. I'll watch the first week, but as after that, we'll see. They're gonna have to do something special. I don't know what you do, but yeah, is it gonna be around? So you threw the number 4 or 5 years. Man, I give them a as is, like what they are as is, because who knows what it could morph into. I'm gonna say like a 30% chance it's still around. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'd like to see it work, but especially with how like I said, utilizing it as a kind of working with the NFL, it could be a developmental league for some of them. 'Cause, I mean, there are only 53 roster spots, on an NFL team. There's room for other guys that are going to be overlooked. Uh, yeah, maybe it can happen. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to say 30% chance there. All right, so I've had this. Let's just jump topics real quick, as we got a little over 9 minutes left in the show, folks. If we decide to, continue that long, but we could probably spend the rest of the show just talking about this. I've had this idea pop into my head from time to time, and regarding the Arkansas Razorbacks, the football team, and the transfer portal, who's doing well with that in the SEC, not just the Razorbacks. Ole Miss is apparently killing it. They've got the number one transfer portal ranking for whatever that's worth. And of course, this is on top of Georgia, Alabama, you know, Texas killing it in recruiting. right? And Arkansas is always at the bottom of that list. Arkansas secured a lot of needs in the transfer portal, from what I can tell, a lot of immediate needs, but I don't know how good these guys are. And I don't know how it stacks up compared. I don't think it stacks up well compared to how the rest of the teams in the SEC are doing. Of course, making a big splash by bringing back Bobby Petrino as your offensive coordinator gets fans excited. With all that being said, do you see Sam Pittman still as the head coach after next season? Honestly,
Honestly, probably not. It's just I don't know, man.
what's your
If it were any
reasoning
other
though?
year, if it were any other year, man, we have a favorable schedule coming up next season.
Ifs and buts,
Yeah,
Indian
I
nuts.
just don't see it happening. I don't see us making it to being bowl eligible, and I think that's just going to be hot enough for him to get the boot. So, and not the one that we want.
No,
Um,
yeah,
I
I don't see it happening. I don't see Sam Pittman. He'll finish the season, I would think, next year as the head coach, but I don't see him as the head coach of the Razorbacks beyond that. I don't see it happening. I've seen enough to want a change already. Yeah, he's a good guy. We all know that. You don't get paid millions of dollars to be a good guy. You get paid millions of dollars to win games. And I've seen his head coaching. I've seen all the flaws in it, and we don't have to rehash all that. If you know, you know. And especially people in the state that have kept close eyes on it. The not keeping your foot on the pedal when you've got the other team down, letting other teams back in it. The poor play on defense at times, the poor offensive line play we saw last season from a guy that's an offensive line coach that's supposed to be able to recruit. The play calling getting just completely outcoached in every way, shape, and form against guys like Hugh Freeze, whether he's at Liberty or Auburn. It's just, I could go on and on. And I don't think bringing in Bobby Petrino is going to fix that. One, you lose your quarterback the last 3 years. He transfers to UCF. I don't necessarily know the quarterback situation there. Who's going to be the favorite? Criswell, the guy from Boise State that transferred.
think the guy from Boise State is going to be the favorite.
I mean, Criswell looked okay from what I saw when he wasn't on his back, or running for his life out there. Which, if you were playing quarterback for the Razorbacks, that's what you were doing about every snap last season. I don't know enough. I don't know anything about the Boise State guy. I assume he's going to be a guy that can fit into Petrino's system. That's why he came in. Um, but I don't think Bobby Petrino. And here's my main reasoning. This is my long-winded way of saying this is why I don't think it's going to work. Bringing what did Texas A&M do? Texas A&M year after year after year has a top 5 recruiting class, and they brought in Bobby Petrino to fix the one thing that needed to be fixed, the offense, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah,
If you can't get it done with those recruits, and Bobby Petrino can still coach, it's not that. For whatever reason, it didn't work. I think it's largely because Jimbo's not as good as people thought, and they realized that. But also, Texas A&M just wasn't as good as people thought either. But still, a much higher rated recruiting class than these Arkansas players, current players are, as far as on paper anyway, skill wise. If you can't do it at Texas A&M, how are you going to do it at Arkansas? With the and it's not your show. Like you're not running the show. You're just, I guess, handling the offense. Like Petrino's going to have bigger fans than the head coach in the stadium.
Yeah.
That's going to be a wild thing to see. But there, yeah, there's my reasoning for it.
But he only did get one season in at A&M though. So if you recall, when he came to Arkansas, it took him more than one season to get it rolling. But once he got it rolling, watch out.
Yeah, but you saw signs of life right away.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 5-7 that first season, but you ended with a big win against LSU. Left a really good taste in people's mouths. Like the future was bright, and you knew it. And then the team steadily got better over time. I don't know that, and it's not the same situation though. Petrino's not going to be the head guy. He's not the head guy. It's going to be Sam Pittman. I don't I don't know
What
how
if he
this
becomes the head
works.
guy after next season?
Yeah, like there's a lot of talk about that, right? You think? I mean, and a lot of people would be okay with that.
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, it's. But can he ever replicate that though? I mean, is he ever going to replicate that
Yes.
4-year run? You think so?
I think he could, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. With the way things are in college football right now, I mean, maybe so. Um, because Petrino's not a guy that goes out and recruits anyway, really, right? He kind of lets people handle that for him, doesn't he? So, but he calls the plays and coaches the team. And
We know he doesn't recruit defense, so
well, he didn't recruit some guys on offense either. Kenneth Dixon, when I was a reporter, he ended up at Louisiana Tech and
yeah.
set school records there. The best high school football player I'd ever seen. Just went completely unnoticed because he was at strong Arkansas. But that's one he definitely missed out on. But I would be okay with it too. By the way, if he ended up being the head coach, I'm not gonna lie. It would jolt. It would give me a much needed jolt to be interested in Razorback football again. I don't know. It's just a tough time for Razorback sports, but baseball's around the corner, right? All right. So, all right, Super Bowl this weekend. We'll tune into that. Recap next next week's episode. We'll recap all that. See how we did. But until then, we're gonna get out of here. Wow, get out of here. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Till next week. This is Graham Powell.
The Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.